Hello everyone, this is Flight Surgeon Tang, and welcome back to another ground school class. In today's lesson, we'll be covering 6.08 Aircraft Stability. Here's a rundown of the four main teaching points in today's lesson. Definitions, longitudinal stability, lateral stability, and directional stability. To start off, what is stability? Stability is how an aircraft reacts to disturbances while in flight. And the three types are dynamic, static, and inherent. Dynamic stability is the overall tendency of an aircraft, when disturbed, to return to its original position. And we can break this down further into positive, negative, and neutral. Positive dynamic stability is when the aircraft will return to its original position. Negative is when it will move further away from its position, and neutral is when the aircraft will neither return to its position nor continue to change. Next is static stability. And this stability is the initial tendency of an aircraft, when disturbed, to return to its original position. On the diagram below, we have a graph of the relationship of displacement and time. Initially, the displacement is extremely high, but due to static stability, over time, that displacement slowly decreases. Finally, we have inherent stability. And this stability is built-in characteristics to enable the airplane to be either stable or unstable. And it revolves around the aircraft axes, creating longitudinal, lateral, and directional stability. To start off, we're going to talk about longitudinal stability, and it is around the lateral axes, and can be also known as pitch stability. Longitudinal stability is affected by the size and position of the horizontal stabilizer and the position of the center of gravity. So how does having a too far forward center of gravity affect the aircraft? It can require loading on the horizontal tail surfaces to maintain the angle of attack as it increases. It also increases the overall weight of the aircraft, and the stall speed will increase, making it easier for the aircraft to stall. However, what if the center of gravity is too far back? This will decrease longitudinal stability since the center of gravity is behind the center of pressure. This will account for violent stall characteristics, poor stall recovery, but the stall speed will decrease, meaning it will be less likely for the aircraft to stall, compared to a center of gravity too far forward. So to recap, a center of gravity too far forward will increase the stall speed, while a center of gravity too far back will decrease the stall speed. Next, we have lateral stability, and this stability is around the longitudinal axes, also known as roll stability. And this stability is created through three types of component: dihedral, keel effect, and sweepback wings. And we'll talk about these three in the next 3 slides. Dihedral is the angle that each wing makes with the horizontal of the aircraft. And when during a turn, the lowered wing, or any kind of disturbance, the lowered wing will produce more lift and will roll back into place. We can see it in the diagram to the left. The top photo of the aircraft shows the dihedral angle, and the middle aircraft is when the aircraft is in a roll. This can be anything from disturbance, or a malfunction, or the pilot just accidentally rolled the aircraft. However, if the pilot does not touch any of the control columns, the downgoing wing, which on the photos on the left, will have a greater angle of attack and increased lift, and this will cause the aircraft to roll back into place. Next is the keel effect, and this often occurs on high-wing aircraft, and it's mainly because of the weight of the aircraft and acting like a pendulum to swing the aircraft back into position. A common aircraft that we know that has this keel effect is the C-17 Globemaster, used in the Royal Canadian Air Force. We can also see it in the photo in the bottom right. And lastly, we have sweepback. And sweepback is when one wing is dropped, the lower wing will produce more lift than the raised wing, and the original position is restored. Sweepback can be clearly seen on the diagram at the bottom. When the aircraft is yawed to the left, one wing is more exposed to the air, and this causes that wing to have greater lift. Hence, the aircraft will slowly return to its original position. And last but not least, we have directional stability, which revolves around the vertical or normal axes. The first component that helps with directional stability is the vertical tail surfaces. When disturbed, the relative airflow will hit the side of the vertical tail surface and push it back into position. And this is only because the aircraft have a tendency to fly directly into the relative airflow. And this works because of the vertical tail surface. And again, while sweepback helped with lateral stability, it also helps with directional stability. As the right wing, as seen on the diagram, migrates forward, also known as yaw, the sweepback design produces a simultaneous increase in lift. As the wing's lift increase, induced drag increase, resulting in wing returning rearward. So this is basically meaning that the other wing, which has more arrows, meaning more lift, will slowly turn the aircraft back to its original position. So now that we have gone to the end of the lesson, we're going to have some confirmation questions. The first three is matching the 6 types of component to the three types of stability. So if you have pen or paper, or you can do this in your head and match each component to the stability, feel free to pause the video if you need more time. If not, we're going to go to the answers. So center of gravity and horizontal stabilizer will help with longitudinal stability, while dihedral effect, keel effect, and sweepback will help with lateral, and sweepback again and vertical stabilizer will help with directional stability. If you're unsure of any of these terminologies, feel free to go back to the lesson and go back to each timeline that talks about each effect. And lastly, we have 3 more confirmation questions. The first one is the difference between dynamic and static stability. Second is dihedral effect and how does it affect lateral stability. And lastly, vertical stabilizer and how it will affect directional stability. Again, if you need more time, feel free to pause the video, and if not, I'm going to move on to the answers. So while dynamic is overall, static is the initial stability. And how dihedral affects lateral stability is that when the aircraft is not in level flight, the lower wing will produce more lift and will roll back into place. And lastly, having a vertical stabilizer will cause the relative airflow to hit the side of the vertical tail surface and push it back into position. So this was 6.08 aircraft stability, and if you have any questions, feel free to contact me or any of the ground school instructors. I hope you learned a lot in today's class, and thank you for watching.